Welcome back, everyone, to the AAA show. I'm your host, Jared Down. Just finished up with JD Helen, who joined me for Saskatchewan and Manitoba breakdown. We talked about standings, streaks, the teams. The Blazers are doing hot in Saskatchewan, as well as Jacob Cassette's red hot past 8 games with the PA Mentos, and then we moved on to Manitoba, where we talked standings. How good the Brandon Wheat Kings have been playing. Furthermore, talked about some records that could be broken in that league this year, as well as the Kenora Thistles, who have been set aside for the entire month of January due to government regulations, forfeiting all games in January. Tough to see for a team, especially after the last couple of seasons due to COVID. However, they sounds like they'll be back in play by the end of January here. So quickly going to jump into the Alberta League Hockey League. No guest to talk about the Alberta League this week. Hoping to have one lined up next week. If anyone's interested in that. Look at the North Division. The Fort Sask Rangers continue to be at the top of that division. 24-2, 42 points, 7 wins in the last 10. St. Albert Raiders sit second, 69-2, 9-2, 34 points. Not a lot of change in the top two. However, the Southside Athletic Club, 14-11-2, 7-2-1 in their last 10. A team that started off below 500, working their way up the standings and now sit third in the division. Going a long ways, starting to separate themselves from the middle to / bottom of that division. The Canadian Athletic Club, great distributors, 10-14-5. Lloydminster Inland Steel Bobcats sit there at 5th. The Grand Prix Storms on a bit of a slide there, 11-16-0, only 2 wins in their last 10 games. They only sit 3 points back of 4th place there, so there's still time to turn things around there. Hopefully they can work their way back up the standings and position themselves better come playoff time. The Grand Prix Storm, was just talking about them. The Sherwood Park Kings, 10-16-2, 5-2-0-3 in their last 10. Notice that I have the standings there in the past 10 as a 4 decimal point standings. That goes win, loss, tie, overtime, loss. Therefore, the Sherwood Park, they've 5-2-0-3, 3 overtime losses. And one goal could go the other way. They could easily be 8-2 in their last 10. They're a team that I'm looking forward. Look to watch at the bottom of the standings. That they could easily shoot up and make a run up the standings here in the second half of the season. Leduc sits second last in the division at 10-16-1, 5-5 in their last 10. While the Maple Leaf Athletic Club, 10-18. Tuning into the South Division now, Calgary Buffaloes continue to be at the top of that division. 21-8-1, 43 points, 9-1 in the last 10. Red hot, one of the hottest teams in the league. Calgary Northwest Flames, 17-8-4, 6-4. Lethbridge continues here, hang out where they always seem to be lately. Top 4 in that division, 69-3. Calgary Royals. Last episode I had there, the Royals were working their way up the standings. Another team that started the season below 500. They seem to go on a tear with 7 wins, 7-1-1-1. So that's 1 tie, 1 overtime loss, and 7 wins. Could easily be 9-1 in their last 10. Airdrie CFR Bisons, they sit at 11-11-6. Excuse me. The Calgary North Stars 9-14-5. Really struggling in that squad. A team that was a little higher in the standings, earlier on the year. Oh, pardon me. The COVID, post-COVID symptoms are starting to kick in here with a little bit of no voice, but bear with me here. 1-5-3-1 in their last 10. A team that, started off well, balanced up to 500. Just struggling to get things going here, but hopefully those 3 ties go the other way there, things could look a little differently, a little more confidence for the squad. So hopefully they can get going here in the second half of the season. The Red Deer Optimus Chiefs really struggled out of the gates, 4-4-2 in their last 10. They worked their way up to 8-17-2 on the year. A team that I believe was near the top of the standings last year before COVID ended the year. Just working on the squad, trying to get better every day, it looks like. Take it one game at a time. And the Okotoks Beaumont Oilers, 2-7-0-1 in their last 10. Tough sledding there right now. As they've seen them fall to last place. I believe at one point they were as high as 4th in the division. But it's going to keep this league short and easy next week. Hopefully have a little more content for you next week on this league. Anyone from Alberta in the areas of these games, this is kind of what I've highlighted as the games of the week / weekend. Fort Sask takes on the St. Albert Raiders at 1:45. Battle at the top of that division. There'll be good hockey there. Hopefully the Raiders, well, I should say hopefully a good game, and anyone in the area can get in that barn to watch. Maybe the Raiders can get a W there and gain some ground on the Rangers in that division. Lethbridge at Sherwood Park. The Kings, just looking back here at the standings, the Sherwood Park Kings 5-2-1-3. They've been playing pretty good hockey lately, and you see the Lethbridge Hurricanes there at 3rd. 2 teams in similar path in the last 10. Both hoping to make some ground on the division. Should be good hockey there to watch at 4:15 in Sherwood Park. And lastly, the battle of the top of the South Division. The Calgary Flames are at the Calgary Buffaloes on the 23rd at 1:15 p.m. That's a game that you will not want to watch. But for those of you who have stuck around, thanks for watching this week's edition of the AAA show. Anyone watching wants to get on the show, feel free to email ASTV or DM Facebook, Twitter, or hit up the show to see if even a comment on the show. I'll check the comments and get you on if you have a family member who plays in either the 3 leagues, or you're a scout or coach that wants to be on and promote the team. Feel free to reach out. I'm always looking for guests on the show. But thanks for joining me this week, and we'll see you all next week.
Maybe was a bit weaker in your game in past seasons?
I would say I've always been a little bit weaker, like feet in the corners in the D zone, especially, and like in the O zone when I'm looking for shooting lanes and all that. And I feel I've been able to find those lanes this year and improve my quicker feet.
Yeah, right on. And we've definitely seen that this season on, the games that we've covered you guys on ASTV when they've been broadcasted. Going back to what's to come this week, of course, we'll get into the games in just a moment here. But tonight you got a guest speaker that you guys are going to be listening to, talking about some nutrition, as I saw on the schedule. Talk about what's going to be involved in tonight's guest speaker, what they're going to be speaking to you about.
Actually our guest speaker for tonight got canceled. But this was our second session. So we had already had a session earlier in the season. So we basically just covers like good meals to eat before games or big game weekends, what to eat during games, after games, kind of all that stuff.
Right on. And obviously nutrition is such a huge part, and not only, in a hockey player's game, but all athletes' game, especially as time has gone along. How have you found, that you've really taken the importance into account about just nutrition, what you're putting into your body to have the best results out there as a hockey player this season?
Yeah. Well, I'm old enough. I know kind of what foods make me feel good and what don't. So I always eat the same thing before meals. Usually get lots of good food and after meals or after games. And drink Gatorade. That's my go-to.
Oh, right on. And what is that go-to pregame meal for you that you like to eat, consistently for your games?
I really like chicken breast cut up with salsa and jalapenos on it.
Oh, that's pretty interesting. But, it works for you, and it does sound pretty darn good, too. So you get that nutrition aspect as well as that tasty aspect in there, right? But, talking about the 3 games that you guys got coming up this weekend on the road, tomorrow night against the Winnipeg Ice. They're the 4th place team in the league. Then you guys play the Interlake Lightning, who you guys have played twice already this season, on Saturday and at home, and as well as on Sunday at home against the Eastman Selects, who you guys have shut out twice already this season. Going into that game, first off about, talking about tomorrow against the Winnipeg Ice, of course, being the 4th place team, you guys have only played them once in the regular season so far and beat them 3-2 in their home rink in the Iceplex. Obviously been a while since you guys have played them, but what's going to be the mindset heading into this game, playing a team that is higher up than you guys in the standings?
Yeah, we're definitely going to be hungry for a win because the Ice is just one place ahead of us, so we're going to want to beat them. It's going to be a quick game. They've got a lot of good players, but so do we. So we'll definitely just need to come prepared to play a full 60 minutes tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure. Any, areas of the game that you guys are looking to take the most advantage of out there against the Ice, or just looking to play a full 60 is probably the most important thing, as you guys always seem to talk about?
Yeah, we'll definitely need to clean up in the D zone and just not play so scrambly, just calm ourselves down, because sometimes we get a little scrambled and get caught in our own end, and then just take it to them in the offensive zone.
On Saturday and Sunday, of course, as mentioned, you guys are playing at home. Talking about the game against the Interlake Lightning, talking about this Interlake Lightning team coming off of a huge win in one of their games last weekend against the Westman Wildcats, who's the 3rd place team in the league. Obviously, Interlake looking to come in with confidence to this game. How are you guys looking to come in against this Interlake team, after playing against the Ice the night before?
We definitely need to not take them for granted. They obviously beat Westman 4-0, so that's a big game. They're going to be coming in real confident. So we'll just have to, again, play a full 60 minutes and take it to them.
And then, of course, Sunday, you guys play against the Eastman Selects to finish off your weekend, that game at home. Of course, you've shut them out twice so far this year, 2-0 and 3-0. Talk about how you guys have been able to have success against them in those 2 games and how you guys are looking to put out that same game plan again this Sunday against them.
Yeah, well, we will need to bring again, play a full 60 minutes, and just we're a quick team, and when we play it quick and pass the puck around them, nobody can stop us. So we'll just need to bring that as well.
And I got to ask you one last question here. Obviously, this could change from now until you guys play, but what's the lineup situation looking like for you guys heading into this 3-game weekend?
This weekend we will have a full lineup as of right now.
Oh, right on. Well, excited to see it. Of course, both of your home games will be on ASTV on Saturday and Sunday. So can't wait to watch those games and cover them. Quinn, best of luck to you and your team in the game tomorrow against the Ice, as well as on Saturday and Sunday against the Lightning and the Selects. Number 24, team captain of the Pembina Valley Hawks, Quinn McLaren, joining me on this week's edition of the Hawks Report. Quinn, you take care.
Thank you.
And Quinn McLaren on this week's edition of the Hawks Report, joining the show here. And a correction about something I said. I said that Pembina Valley has only played Interlake twice. They've actually played them 3 times this season already. Their first matchup was actually Pembina Valley's first game of the season in the regular season, where they ended up winning 3-1 over the Interlake Lightning. Interlake actually opened up the scoring in that game before Pembina Valley scored 3 unanswered goals, but should be a interesting game for them on that Saturday matchup against Interlake, as well as their matchup tomorrow against the Winnipeg Ice, and their final matchup of the weekend, finishing off a very busy weekend for the Pembina Valley Hawks against the Eastman Selects, of course, Saturday and Sunday games for Pembina Valley, both being at home. So we're going to go to a commercial break, and after this commercial break, it's going to be our weekly Pilot-Mound Hockey Academy player interviews here on our Thursday editions of the show. Going to be interviewing two players, both from their prep male programs tonight, and starting off is with a younger player out of the two in Hansel Chicoose. He'll be joining the show next to talk about why he chose Pilot-Mound, why he came to Pilot-Mound, as well as the experience he's had in the academy so far, and also talking about the upcoming matchup that the team has in the season he's been having so far, but the upcoming matchup the team has against the Yellowhead Chiefs this Sunday, where they go on the road to play them. You're watching Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions. Stick around for more after this commercial break.
Why go solar? Solar is better than ever. Our revolutionary design and inverter equipment with the latest in solar panel technology for the ultimate in-home and business security. That's right, I said security. Grid security and security of your home are linked. Fortify your future today with a battery backup system. No maintenance, quiet running. Did you know in Manitoba, grid-connected, off-grid, and battery backup systems are 100% right off in the year you purchase for any company or farm? Do you want to back up your internet, keep your tills running, and the lights on? We can install a system that is right for you with battery backup fully capable of taking on all those essential loads and keeping you running. When you call our experts at Evolve Green, ask about getting your free energy audit today. Call or email today to find out what system works best for you. 1-866-5EVOLVE or support@evolvegreen.ca. Also, be sure to check out our website at www.evolvegreen.ca.
Welcome back to Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions. Joining me first on tonight's edition of the show was Quinn McLaren, number 24, team captain and senior defenseman of the Pembina Valley U18 AAA Female Hawks, joining this week's edition of the Hawks Report. Now moving on to talking to some Pilot-Mound Hockey Academy players. Joining me first out of the two interviews I'll be doing with Pilot-Mound Hockey Academy players tonight, it's going to be Hansel Chicoose, number 23 forward of the Pilot-Mound Hockey Academy U15 Prep Male Buffaloes. And we got Hansel backstage in the studio right now. Hansel, thanks for taking the time and joining the show here tonight. How you doing on this Thursday evening? And nice to meet you for the first time in person.
Nice to meet you too. I'm doing good. Just chilling out, I guess, waiting for the upcoming games that we have, and excited to watch, unfortunately, because I am injured, but, I'm going to cheer my team on hard.
Yeah, that's awesome. And not awesome that you're injured, of course, but, awesome that you've been enjoying your time so far, in the academy, it seems. And, just talking about how you ended up being a Buffalo this year, of course, you're on the first ever U15 prep male team that this team has ever had. But I heard that you're related to former Buffalo player Harmony Chicoose. She was a defenseman for the Buffaloes last season and seasons before. Was that a reason why you chose Pilot-Mound as that next place to play, just having that relation there, knowing what she went through in this academy?
Yes, definitely. That was a big factor in my choices because I had seen her go play hockey in the States, which is a dream of mine. So I knew that this program would be able to get me to my dreams and everything. So definitely a huge factor. And I knew that it was a nice, safe academy, and I was able to enjoy myself and have fun. So it was definitely a good choice.
Right on. And, before this year, did you ever have a chance to visit Pilot-Mound at all when Harmony was playing games?
Yes, for the past 4 years that she was there, I was able to go watch games and take a look around the dorms and everything, get a feel of the town. So it definitely felt like a second home already. So that was a good part of it.
Well, that's awesome. You already had that familiarity coming in, which is nice. Did it make that transition, moving away from home, from your hometown, Regina and Saskatchewan, making that transition from moving away from your home in Regina to Pilot-Mound, making that transition easier?
Yes, it definitely helped. It was a different change of scenery from a big city like Regina to a small town like Pilot-Mound. But it did feel like home, and I felt like I belonged there, and I felt like the community accepted me with open arms already because they knew Harmony. So I felt like I would transition real quick, and everybody knew me already, so they were able to happy and see me and everything. So
Yeah, for sure. And that's great that, they were able to accept you with open arms, the community. And, seems like you and the boys have been bonding nicely this season. Talk about that experience so far of being able to be a member of this team with the boys you've been playing with.
yes, it's a great experience. It's like going to a new town and meeting like 18 different new brothers. I've never had a brother before, so it's like I have 18 all at once. So it was really nice because we all got along really quickly and fairly. There was no problems. We all were able to be nice to each other and have a great time. We all just like to laugh and have fun and just accept each other and everything. So it's a nice open area with all the boys and everything. So it's always a good place to go to if I'm feeling down or anything. It's always a good place. They're always very nice and accepting for anyone.
Yeah, that's awesome. Great to hear. And you're experiencing something new for the first time this year, playing academy hockey. Talk about the places you played before. How they compared to just this experience that you've had so far of being on the ice every single day, being able to use the facilities that Pilot-Mound offers, as well as traveling on the road with the team and the competition you're playing as well.
Yeah, well, it's definitely a big change from Regina hockey for sure. Back in Regina, I was like separated practices maybe like once a week, but now I'm practicing every single day, which is crazy to think of. And yeah, it's definitely different because to go play games now, I have to travel places, or I get people from like Edmonton or like Winnipeg to come play me in my hometown. So it's very, very new, but it's very exciting as well at the same time because it's something I wasn't able to do back in Regina because Regina just has regular hockey, not academy or anything like that. So definitely no experience, and it was definitely a transition for sure because it was also a new level of hockey for sure, definitely a higher intensity. So nice to feel that I was able to play at the high level as well. So
Yeah, for sure. How have you felt that you've handled the transition into playing academy hockey this season, as the season has gone along?
I feel like I've transitioned well. I feel like at the beginning of the year there were some ups and downs for sure because the new level hockey and everything just hadn't played a game in a year for one thing, and also because it was also such a big change from Regina hockey to U15 Prep. But I feel like now I'm getting the hang of it and I'm really finding my game in this new high intensity level hockey.
Yeah, and speaking of that, like obviously your season, along with hockey players from around Canada, got cut short last year due to COVID-19. But obviously, a lot of time to train and work on some things. Obviously, you're a younger player, being in the U15 prep level. But did you have a chance to train at all and focus on working on your skills throughout the time that you could do that last season when normally you could have been playing games?
Yes, so in like Regina, we were still able to practice. So at least I was still able to have some ice time to have my feet not be so rusty and, make sure I don't lose any of my like hand skills or anything like that. I was able to keep up my level of hockey, my knowledge of hockey, but it's different from practices to games for sure. But at least I didn't get rusty because it would have been really bad if I was rusty and I had to play my first U15 Prep game.
For sure, no doubt about it. Talking about just that first game back this season, what that was like, being able to experience playing CSSHL U15 Prep hockey for the first time. Take me back to that experience.
It was definitely a very like surreal moment. I guess it was like another like breath of life, I guess. It was like, oh, like I remember what playing hockey feels like now. I remember the competitive level and like this and everything. It felt like I belonged there as well, because I felt like I wasn't sticking out like a sore thumb in a bad way, and I felt like I was able to handle myself. And it felt nice to be back on the ice playing a game for sure. Like it felt nice to be skating with a puck against an opposing team for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I couldn't imagine it. I played some hockey growing up. For 12 years, only made it the highest level I played was AA, but I never got my seasons cut short ever in my life due to something like the pandemic. And for you guys, everyone playing now, still in minor hockey, that's experienced it. Having that experience of having the season cut short, I couldn't even imagine what that would be like. Especially for the senior players in their seasons, but you're still a ways away from being a senior, right? Talk about that experience you've had so far of being able to use the gym really anytime you want to, work on some skills in terms of working on strength and working on cardio as well.
Yeah, it's definitely something new. I've never really had like that much access to a gym in like a walking distance away. I was just really practicing like once a week back in Regina. So having a gym open 24/7, it's really nice to be able to make sure I don't lose anything, especially on weekends where we have nothing. I can just keep up some skating or some passing or some cardio or some weightlifting. I can just pop over to the rink and do that, which is nice. I don't have to lose my rest over a weekend. I can just keep on training nonstop, which is nice.
Yeah, for sure. That's great to hear. You've only had a chance to play in 14 games so far this season. Of course, you are injured right now, like you said. We're not gonna go into the injury in depth. Just gonna mention it there. But in regular season play, in 14 regular season games, of course, you played more games than that. But just in terms of regular season, you got a goal, an assist for 2 points in 14 games played. Talk about your game out there. What type of player Hansel Chicoose is.
I guess the player I think I would definitely be a versatile playmaker. I guess I can play lots of defensive skills, and I can be very offensive as well. I can back check if I go on a rush. I can forward a play if I need to and everything. And I feel like whenever I'm on the ice, I don't need to be the star of the show. I think it's the team needs to be the star. So whatever I need to do for the help the team is going to do what I do. I don't need to be look at me. I can just be I can help the team all with I can, with making plays of teammates, making smart plays, making smart decisions, skating hard, trying my best. Honestly, that's definitely the kind of player I am, which is a versatile playmaker for sure.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And obviously, you mentioned defensively, you got some skills there. How does your defensive game kind of relate to your sister Harmony, or how kind of some things that you've taken from the page from her defensive game out there?
Yes, well, I've grown up watching her all the time, so and I always hear stories about her defensive skills and everything. So I always make sure I listen to those and make sure that I apply them to my game, because as a forward, I have to do my best to also do defensive stuff in our end to protect our goalies and our net. So always nice to hear like even her feedback, and for my game, she'll tell me, like, oh, next time in your zone, try and do this, try and do that. And I'll always listen to her because I know she has great advice, and especially as a defenseman, she knows how to protect her goalies and the end. So definitely, yeah, she definitely has influence also my defensive skills for sure.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Big sis rubbing off on a little bro for sure, which is awesome to hear there, Hansel. Talking about the team's most recent game, you guys have only played one game in the new year so far. You weren't in the lineup for that game, as I checked on the website, but the team lost 7-1. Obviously, not the way you guys want to start off your 2022 portion of the season, but talk about what it was like, watching that game from the stands, just from what you noticed that OHA Edmonton, the team you guys played, did so well against you guys.
Yeah, I definitely noticed lots of things. Something different from watching a game from above than being inside of the game. For sure, you can see more and see what the other players are doing when you aren't watching them or who don't have the puck, for sure. But for sure, I felt like a third coach, just kind of making sure that I was telling my players, like, oh, I can see them doing this, or, try doing this because last time it didn't work, but I saw this guy was open. It's like trying my best to still help the team with our game, so I don't feel like I'm on the sidelines. I can still help our team out as much as I can possibly with my injury, but definitely was different from watching than being on the bench, for sure. But I was able to pick up some stuff and help out my team. But unfortunately, we did lose. But it was just another lesson for us, that sometimes we have to try harder and sometimes we have to play harder and play smarter. So we always definitely learn from our mistakes.
Yeah, for sure. And I got to ask you this question. Did they have you keeping track of shots or anything, or were you just strictly, just spectating that game?
I was spectating that game for sure, but I kind of mentally was keeping track myself, seeing where they like to go for passes or shots, just making sure keeping an eye out on those specific things. I wasn't assigned to do that, but I thought for sure it'd be a helpful thing to do.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's great that you were taking in as much information, as much from the game as possible to, improve yourself as a hockey player out there, even though you weren't playing in that game. But talking about the game coming up on Sunday against the Yellowhead Chiefs, you guys are going to be on the road. You guys beat them 6-5 back in September for the first win in this program's team history. Talk about that first off. I've asked your teammates about it before that I've had here on Coffee with Graeme, or also on the Prospect Show as well with Gage Sutherland and Carson Carrolls. But talking about that game back in September, what that was like to be a part of that, being a part of history in Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy.
It definitely felt very nice. I've in Regina definitely wasn't making history there for sure. I was just another player on another team, but yeah, I felt very nice to, be a part of history, be making a name for myself for sure. Felt nice to also win, and I just hope that definitely this next time, which I just heard from my coach, that the game is canceled because we have 2 games against Maroon Dame. So I'm hoping that, they can carry that momentum that they had with we have the confidence to beat the Shoal Lake, the Yellowhead Chiefs. Sorry. I hope they have the confidence to beat that they carry that on to play against Notre Dame for sure. Because Notre Dame is a tough team, but I feel like we can beat them because we have before in the past. So I hope that my teammates keep up their moods with our games.
Yeah, for sure. So when are you guys playing Notre Dame? Sorry.
We play them this weekend, Saturday and Sunday.
Right.
It was an emergency reschedule.
Right on. Yeah, I didn't see that on the team's website, but definitely going to be 2 big matchups coming up. And, hoping you guys all the best in the games that you guys are playing, even though you're not playing, this weekend coming up still out with an injury. But, talking about one more thing, Hansel, when you do get back into the lineup, hoping to very soon, I assume, what are you going to be hoping to work on and keep improving on as your season goes along here until season's end in Pilot-Mound?
I would probably say definitely like my shot for sure. I want to get more goals. Goals are nice. I would like to get obviously more goals, but I also want to work on just kind of like developing my game even more, because I always feel that I can get better. I don't need to stay I don't need to plateau for hockey skills. I can always get better. So I feel like, developing everything is what I kind of want to do. Make sure I get a full range of set of skills this season, because very nice for next season. If I return, I'll be able to have those same skills and develop even more. So.
And that's a hope of yours, a goal of yours to return next season.
Yes, definitely. It'd be very nice to go 4 years like my sister.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, thanks for coming on tonight, Hansel. Great to get to meet you and get to know you as a hockey player, and just, the enjoyment you've had so far in Pilot-Mound. Best of luck to you and the team as the season goes along here this weekend. And, hoping to see you back playing games in the lineup very soon for the team.
Yes. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, man. You take care, Hansel.
Thank you, you too.
Hansel Chicoose joining the show here tonight on Coffee with Graeme. And yeah, folks, I'm not sure. Maybe I should have checked the social media tonight, but yeah, just looking at the schedule of games that the Buffaloes do have. Let me take a look here. Taking a look at it. Yeah, the only thing they got on their schedule for the Buffaloes coming up this weekend is against the Yellowhead Chiefs. That's the only game they got going on. But they're playing Notre Dame twice this weekend, so going to be another lesson to learn from the Buffaloes in that game, playing against a Notre Dame squad, and hoping that the Buffaloes come out with at least a win coming up this weekend coming up against the Notre Dame Hounds. So coming up after the break, he hasn't joined backstage yet, but we're going to sort that out. Riel Chartrand, number 7 defenseman for the U17 Prep male Buffaloes in Pilot-Mound, will be joining the show next to talk about why he chose Pilot-Mound as that next place to continue his development in the sport of hockey, as well as talking about the season he's had so far, as well as some other things possibly. So stick around. We'll get Riel here in backstage in the studio and get set for the next interview here on Coffee with Graeme. Stick with me, host Graeme Forsyth, for more after these commercial breaks.
Welcome to Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy, your world-class academic and hockey training facility created to maximize each student's athletic and academic potential. Blackjack Stewart Arena, home of the Buffalo, is inside the 46,000 square foot complex, as well as a curling rink and other facilities. The students have a unique combination of successful, well-rounded education at Pilot-Mound Collegiate Institute and the professional hockey training in an encouraging community. The years of experience of on-ice coaching propel our students to the next level, both mentally and physically, in a professional environment.
Welcome back to Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions. Number 23, Hansel Chicoose of the U15 male Prep Buffaloes, or Prep male Buffaloes. Join the show first here on this edition of, second on this edition, the first out of the 2 Buffalo interviews that I'll be doing tonight from Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy. Joining the show to talk about, why he chose Pilot-Mound, talking about just, his sister Harmony Chicoose, who spent 4 years in the academy, talking about the influence she has had on his offensive game as a forward out there. He also talked about himself as a player, as well as the season, the past results that the team has had, most notably the game that the team has had only one here in 2022 so far in the 2022 portion of the season. And of course, they'll be playing this weekend coming up against the Notre Dame Hounds. So, I forget what Hansel said about if that game with Yellowhead is still a go, but I'll have to check back on that later on in this episode as this episode goes along and clarify that with you guys. But joining the show now is number 7 defenseman for the Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy Prep U17 Buffaloes team, or U17 Prep male team for the Buffaloes from the PAW, Manitoba. It's Riel Chartrand. Riel, thanks for joining the show here tonight, buddy. How you doing on this Thursday evening, man?
I'm doing good. You?
Doing good. Great to have you on the show. You're from the PAW, Manitoba. Obviously, choosing Pilot-Mound as that next place to play. Talk about how you found out about Pilot-Mound and what piqued your interest about the academy for you to be where you're at now on this U17 team.
The way I found out about Pilot-Mound was one of my buddies, Rockland, on the team. He came to Pilot-Mound and he was talking about it. So I was talking to him with it about it, and I decided to come to Pilot-Mound with him too.
Right on. That's awesome. And who is that teammate that you ended up coming with?
Rockland.
Oh, Rockland. Yeah.
Sure.
That's awesome to hear. That's awesome that you had someone you were familiar with coming in Rockland. Getting to play on the team with him, and obviously not just you and Rockland bond pretty closely. But you and the rest of this team have bonded. You guys seem like your brothers out there now. Talk about how nice it's been to bond with this team as the season has gone along.
It's very good to bond with them. Yeah, we bonded very good at the start. All the boys were very good and stuff. Yeah.
It's great to hear, man. And, just talk about, just being in Pilot-Mound for the first time, and this time has gone along here. What's been the best part, in your opinion, about playing hockey in Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy?
Yeah, I think Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy is great. All the rink facility, the dorms, I think it's very great. The gym, you have access to the gym every day and access to ice every day. And I just train whenever you want, basically.
Yeah.
Everything you want to do.
Yeah, for sure. And that's not something that you've been accustomed to in the past. Talk about what the transition has been like, from playing where you've played in the past to playing with Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy now, being on the ice every single day, getting to train in the gym, being on the road with the team and playing this competition in the CSSHL.
Yeah, it's actually way different because my previous years, I had to actually travel like every weekend to go practice with my teams, and my games, like 4 hours I had to travel to practice. So it wasn't really that good, but I was still playing AAA in Manitoba.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And, talk about, obviously you played AAA in Manitoba, but you're playing CSSHL hockey now. Talk about just the level of competition, diving more into that, expanding on that. What's been the biggest adjustment for you so far playing out there as a defenseman against this competition?
Yeah, it's way more competition in this league. It's very high intensity, and when you have the puck, there's always a guy right on you all the time. You gotta move quick, and you gotta be fast out there. Just high level hockey.
Talking about some things that I found out on the social media page that the Buffaloes, they posted this on Twitter, I believe. I think they posted all across their social media pages, but get to know a Buffalo. You were featured in one of these, talking about 3 things that I find very interesting. Talking about your favorite movie. It's Money Heist, apparently. Why is Money Heist the favorite movie for Riel Chartrand?
Yeah, I just think it's very interesting, like when they rob banks and stuff. I think it's very interesting, and how they find out how they do it and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I've heard a lot about Money Heist, but haven't had a chance to watch it, so I'll have to try to give that a shot. Is it on Netflix?
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Right on. So I might have to watch that later tonight after this episode of Coffee with Graeme is finished. Another question that was asked is, who's your favorite NHL player? And a bit of an interesting one because you're a defenseman, but you went with a forward. Of course, I think the greatest goal scorer of all time, Alexander Ovechkin, is your favorite NHL player. Talk about why exactly is it the grade 8 Ovi is your favorite player in the
NHL? Yeah, I sort of picked him because just his slap shot from like far out, it just goes in all the time when he shoots it.
Yeah, for sure. And that slap shot has helped him, be recognized as, I think, the greatest goal scorer ever. Obviously, I think coming into tonight, he leads the league in points and goals now. So, yeah, he's still getting it done as he gets older and older, which is great. Talk about one last thing about the questions you were asked. If you had a warning label, what would your saying? You said you won't get around. Why exactly did you pick that as your warning label?
I feel like because my defensive game is very good. Like my skating backwards is, I feel like it's faster when I skate forward. So, and I could like use my poke check really good. So it's very hard to get it around me in practice. Like rarely anyone can get around me in practice when we practice here. So
Yeah.
I just thought of throwing that on there.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, definitely. You've been solid on defense for this team this season. You've only put up 2 points in 21 regular season games played so far. But, talking about yourself as a defensive player, obviously the things you mentioned, but also talking about the abilities you bring out there in terms of, generating offensive opportunities for your team, getting your teammates the puck out there.
Yeah, I like to move around the puck a lot. I like to make plays, make long passes, just moving around the puck a lot. Because I like to do that.
Talk about obviously the skills you've had coming in. How you feel like you've progressed as a player. As the season has gone along. Improving those skills further as the season has gone along, playing against this competition.
Yeah, I feel like I improved a lot actually when I got to Pilot-Mound. I could see my game getting faster and my skills improving on the ice. I could see like me proving a lot out there.
That's great to hear. And of course, you guys have had some cancellations in the season at this point due to COVID. I saw that you guys have the games canceled this weekend against Prairie. You guys were supposed to be playing 2 at home. It's scheduled next time. This is what the website said. You guys playing next up on the schedule, February 11th in Cairnport, Saskatchewan. Talk about how frustrating it is to have these games being canceled as you guys are trying to get into the swing of things, getting ready to try to make a push in playoffs as it's coming up pretty soon before we know it.
Yeah, I was actually pretty mad when I got the text from coach that our games are canceled because I was looking forward to playing the games coming up. I had a chance. I had a feeling I was just gonna I get a few points on the weekend, so I was aiming for it. I just had a feeling that I was gonna get a few points.
Yeah, it's just frustrating that this stuff just continues to keep happening for teams in hockey. Especially you guys having these games canceled, having games taken away. But hopefully these games get rescheduled and you guys get to play them at some point in the season. Talk about the team this year. Obviously you guys have struggled to put up wins consistently, but you guys, when you play your game, you've been able to beat some good teams in this league, including the Edge and Prairie Hockey Academy, who's fallen from grace since you guys actually beat them back when you did earlier in the season. But talk about how you felt that, in your opinion, that this defense has improved this season, even though the numbers aren't too spectacular out there on the stat sheet as a team as a whole on the CSSHL website.
Yeah, I feel like I'm more defensively. I like to help in front of the net and then the corners and get the puck out of our D zone.
Yeah, but just the team in general, how you felt that this defensive coverage has improved throughout the season, because you guys have definitely made some improvements, some strides to improve throughout the season defensively, even though the total numbers, the total stats as a team haven't been the greatest. How's that been, just the improvement you've seen this decor as a whole, not just yourself, make throughout the season?
Oh, yeah, I think we're a really good team. We could beat a lot of other teams. I think all our D-men and the forwards just need to buy into what our coaches say, and we just need to be more physical out there.
Yeah, for sure. You'd say that, those things, getting more physical, just continuing to buy into what head coach Rick McConnell and his staff, along with Ernie Sutherland, are saying is going to help you guys moving forward into this season.
Yeah, they're very good coaches. They're one of the best coaches I had all through my hockey season, actually. It's not even done yet, so I think they're really good coaches, and they're going to help me get to the next level.
Yeah, and obviously you're a 2006 born player, so this is your first year playing with this Pilot-Mound team. Depending on what happens going forward here, you have a chance to spend another 2 years playing for this team. Talk about how you're looking to improve as a player as your career goes along here with the Buffaloes.
Yeah, I'm thinking to improve a lot, actually, because I'm going to the gym every night, actually, and having free skate every night, working on some skills, blocking the blue line, my shot, my edges, and my D zone.
Right on, right on. Well, I got to ask you one more question here, Riel. It's the question, what player in the NHL, obviously your favorite player being Alexander Ovechkin, but from a defensive standpoint, just from the defensemen that play in the league, which player you feel like might resemble, the type of game that you play out there?
Well, my favorite D-man is Cale Makar, but I don't think I could resemble I'm as the same as him, but I could try to be the same as him.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Tough to really pick, sometimes who you feel you could resemble your game with. Cale Makar, he's electric. I don't think many people in this world are like Cale Makar out there, especially the type of things he's been able to do this season. But definitely a goal, right? To try to resemble someone like that would be super, and just spectacular for this Buffaloes team if you were able to resemble that. But Riel, thanks for coming on tonight's edition of the show Coffee with Graeme here, and talking about your experience so far in Pilot-Mound. Great to know you're enjoying it, and I had a pleasure talking to you, man. You continue to try to get better as a hockey player out there, and hopefully you guys can get back to playing games soon. Until then, you take care, man. Have a great rest of your night.
You take care. Thank you for inviting me to the show.
Of course, man. You take care and stay safe, eh?
You too.
And Riel Chartrand joining this edition of Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions. Coming up after the break, folks, we are going to be diving into this week's edition of Seth's Inside Scoop. Seth Rach will be joining the show to talk about the upcoming games on the network this weekend, both being in the MFHL. Between the Pembina Valley Hawks U18 female AAA team taking on the Interlake Lightning on Saturday, as well as Seth is going to preview and break down the upcoming matchup that they also have on Sunday against the Eastman Selects. You're watching Coffee with Graeme here on ASTV Productions. Stick around for our weekly segment here, Seth's Inside Scoop, after this commercial break. And it's this week's edition of Seth's Inside Scoop here on this Thursday night edition of Coffee with Graeme with Seth Rach. Seth, nice to have you here on the show once again on this Thursday night. And we got only 2 games to talk about, but should be 2 interesting games on the network this weekend between these teams that are in action. How are you doing on this Thursday evening, man?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Just compiling everything for this week's edition of the Inside Scoop, and we're looking forward to covering these games on the weekend.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. And of course, the three teams that we are covering, one team playing in both of those games is the Pembina Valley Hawks, both at home in their games, taking on the Interlake Lightning on Saturday and then the Eastman Selects on Sunday. Of course, the Pembina Valley Hawks will be playing the night before as well on the road in Winnipeg at the Bell MTS Iceplex against the Winnipeg Ice. But talking about the Hawks and Interlake Lightning, Pembina Valley coming into this game. Well, I guess not this game, but coming into the weekend, coming off of a loss against the Westman Wildcats. Of course, after they play the Ice, they'll be, depending on what happens in that one, we'll see if they end up winning or losing that one. But they've played Interlake 3 times already. They've won 3-1. 6-0 and 3-2 so far this season. But for Pembina Valley coming into this one, coming off of that game that they'll be playing against the Winnipeg Ice, how should they be approaching this Interlake Lightning team who ended up having the biggest upset of the MFHL season so far against the Westman Wildcats last weekend?
Yeah, what Interlake was able to do, they proved that they were no slouch, and they were able to get their first win, and they got this first win against a good team. And the Hawks are going in facing a good team on Friday, and then they'll be facing Interlake the next day. So I think the main thing is don't worry about this game until you get done with your business with the Winnipeg Ice, and then going into this Interlake game, just expect the unexpected. This team was able to come out and beat one of the better teams. So I think coming out with 110%, a theme I like to use on this show quite often. I think that's the main key for the Hawks in both the games or all 3 games, I should say, that they're playing this weekend.
Yeah, and I had a chance to talk to Quinn McLaren on this week's edition of the Hawks Report earlier on in this episode, Seth, and she said that at this point they'll be having a full lineup this weekend coming in. I mean, things can change obviously from now until Friday's game, tomorrow, even Saturday's game and Sunday's game, depending what happens in the Winnipeg Ice game. Maybe there might be injuries, or maybe Pembina Valley comes out of that and has another full lineup again against Interlake. But if they do have a full lineup, what should we be expecting from head coach Dana Bell in terms of the way he'll be approaching this game with how he'll be using his lineup out there?
I've noticed a theme with the Hawks. You always know. I mean this in a good way. You know what to expect this Hawks team. They're going to come out flying. They're going to come out. The other team might be a little bit faster, but you can always expect this Hawks team to be hard on the forecheck, to be very aggressive in the offensive zone, being all over the ice. And I think it's going to be nothing different. Obviously, they're going to have some more players in this game, and they were a little bit shorthanded last weekend, missing a few of their players, but I think getting these players back is going to be a momentum boost, and I think that momentum boost may be able to get them a few wins this weekend.
Taking into account that the Hawks will be playing 3 games in total, what should we be expecting in terms of the goaltending in this game against Interlake? Do you think we'll see the same goalie back-to-back, considering Trey Enns is back, depending on if her and Kaylee Franz gets the start in that Winnipeg Ice game? Do you think we'd see them again in this game against Interlake, or do you think that Dana Bell would be looking to switch things up and give another one of his goaltenders some ice time this weekend against Interlake?
Yeah, it's so hard to predict these things in these leagues. I always notice, I don't think I said this on air at all, but a few months ago when we were doing the game of the month in Pilot-Mound, I thought, the Pilot-Mound team would change their goaltending up after the day after they played a game, and they didn't do it. So I don't know. I think if I was Coach Dana Bell, I would play one goalie. For example, I'd play Kaylee Franz on Friday, then go Trey Enns, and then go Kaylee Franz again, just to kind of, give the goaltenders a bit of a rest. But that's just my personal take on it.
Yeah, for sure. Interesting to get your opinion on that, Seth. Something I was curious to know about. Talking about the games that these teams have played against each other so far, of course, they've played each other 3 times. And, of course, Pembina Valley has won all 3 matchups. They've outshot Interlake by a wide margin in all of these games, 42-17 in total shots in that 3-1 win in their first game of the season, 43-18 in that 6-0 win in their second meeting of the season, and a 54-33 shot advantage in the 3-2 win for Pembina Valley over Interlake in that most recent matchup that they had, and the third win that Pembina Valley had over the Lightning this season. Talking about, the game plan for Pembina Valley, how they'll be looking to replicate this and have the same sort of success, sticking to that game plan of generating shots, as many shots as they can get on net on teams, especially against Interlake.
Yeah, I think the main thing is just continue to play our game. They found success in the past 3 games, but like you mentioned those shot totals, and it kind of boggles, you kind of like just amazes you how much opportunities this team has gotten against the Interlake Lightning. So I think I'm gonna go out here and say I'm expecting a similar outcome in shots as far as the shots goes. But this is a team that really loves to shoot the puck, and this is a team that plays very hard on the forecheck. And I think going into this game, you should expect don't expect a certain score to happen, but expect the Hawks to come out with that mentality of firing on all cylinders.
And of course, Pembina Valley has been able to limit Interlake in shots in these games, to under 20 in those first 2 games that they played against them. The third game, of course, Interlake ended up getting 33 shots on Pembina Valley. But, talking about Pembina Valley in this game, how they're going to be looking to, keep that good defense up and, win in the shot total in that category once again against the Interlake Lightning.
Yeah, I think I've answered a lot of these questions similarly, but, after, watching this team a lot, really paying attention to how they play, I think there's been one small, I've noticed a weakness in a few games that this team has. I think they need to patch up, and it's oftentimes when they're in their own zone trying to break out, is they try to send that stretch pass quite often. There's a numerous amount of times last game I can recall them doing that, and I think they need to shore that up a little bit. Try to the stretch pass can be excellent if you can get it tape to tape, but if that puck gets turned over, it's just an odd man rush the other way or odd woman rush the other way. So I just think just shoring that aspect up a little bit, I think it can really help them in the long run.
Talking about special teams, something that's been strong for Pembina Valley, even though they might not score a goal on their power play every single time, they've been moving the puck better and better on the power play as the season has gone along. And that penalty kill, as we know, Seth, has been really strong for Pembina Valley, especially since they've come back from their their holiday break in the season, starting up playing games again and here in 2022. But talk about the special teams, the factor that's going to play in this game for the Hawks, so whether they're on the power play or the penalty kill.
Well, one thing is how hot the PK for the Hawks has been lately. I just have been amazed. They've been going flawless in the past few games that we've covered as far as power plays go, and they've taken a lot of penalties in those games as well. So their PK has got to be, I'll have all the confidence in the world because they've been able to kill so many penalties. So I think that's not the. I think their PK is there. At least obviously they're going to be concerned about it when they do get on the PK. But I think it's been so hot, their confidence is up. They're going to be rolling on that PK. And as far as the power play goes, I think you're right. I think they've been very good on that too. They haven't been able to score as many goals as they probably would have liked, but they've been getting a lot of shots and they've been playing a lot of pressure, moving the puck well, like you said. So I think both their specialty units are at their peak performance, you could say, right now.
Talk about the keys to the game for the Hawks in this one. Feel like we'll be hearing a lot of the same that you've already talked about during this part of the segment already. But the keys to the game for Pembina Valley coming in against the Interlake Lightning in this Saturday matchup.
Yeah, I think number one is don't give the Interlake any lightning. Or don't give the – oh, man, that's funny. Don't give Interlake any sort of daylight. They're riding a high, I'd say. They got their first win. They were able to beat one of the better teams in the league, and they have that confidence up. So, just continue to play your game. Do not give them any daylight. That'd be number one. And I'd say I'm going to keep the theme as what I said last week, and I'm going to say, stay disciplined. I know their PK has been fantastic, but one of these days it's the discipline, especially with the amount of penalties they've been taking over the past few games, it might come to bite them. So I think, making sure your discipline is good as another key for them in the game as well.
Yeah, for sure. And, some funny stuff there, Seth, what you said about the Lightning. That's hilarious. And speaking of the Interlake Lightning, this will be their first and only game of the weekend that's on the schedule for them. They're coming off of their best game of the season in terms of them getting a win against the Wildcats. I guess not coming off of that game most recently. Most recently, after that game, they lost against the Yellowhead Chiefs 4-0. But, Interlake having a lot of success in that last weekend. Even though they lost the game, they won their first game of the regular season against a top 3 team in the league in terms of the standings in the Westman Wildcats. With this being their only game of the weekend, how do you expect that the Lightning are going to come out and approach this one?
Yeah, I'm actually expecting, a fast sort of approach or a speedy sort of approach to the game. Obviously, they were able to get that win, like we had mentioned, and that's going to be a big thing for them. They're going to have all the confidence in the world after getting that win, and I'm sure they're going to come out even hungrier. So I think we can expect a very hungry, fast game from the Interlake Lightning.
Yeah, and, for Interlake in that game that they had success against by winning against the Westman Wildcats, it came down to the goaltender performance from Katie Dorsch, but also, this team scoring by committee, 4 different goal scorers in that win. Do you think that's going to be a key to their success once again, knowing how this team hasn't been able to put up many goals this season, is looking for that scoring by committee? Overall team success on the offensive side to beat this Pembina Valley Hawks team this time around?
Yeah, I think that's exactly right, Graeme. They haven't seen the most amount of scoring in the league. They haven't scored very many goals. So I think, just them coming scoring by committee is going to be the main thing for this team. It's, if they're going to win the game, you're probably not going to see I shouldn't say probably, but you may not see the same person be on the scoring sheet twice for them. So I think scoring by committee is going to be the, if they're gonna come out and get the victory, I think the scoring by committee is going to be the main thing, and I think you're right on that.
And just taking a look at it, Caitlin Dorsch, the play that she displayed and has been displaying this season, even though she only has gotten 1 win on the year, and it's been Interlake's only win on the season. She's been a positive in the games that they've played. She's faced a lot of shots this season, and just looking at it, she had a 39 save shutout in that victory that they had against the the Westman Wildcats last weekend. Obviously, they might go away from Caitlin Dorsch in this game, but who knows, because this is their only game of the weekend. But, depending on who's going to be in net, either Dorsch or Halderson, what should we be expecting from these goaltenders from the Interlake Lightning in this matchup?
Yeah, the goaltending has really surprised me this year with how many good goaltenders there are in this league. And, out of all the goaltenders we look at, and I'd say this tandem right here has got to be one of the most impressive. But especially Caitlin Dorsch's performance last weekend, getting the shutout in their only win, that was a very, very good performance. And both these goaltenders, Rachel Halderson too, she's had her shining moments as well. They face a lot of shots a game. The goals against average here is definitely a stat that I wouldn't look at when I look at these two goaltenders. I look at that save percentage and I look at the amount of shots they faced, and it just boggles your mind on how well these goaltenders have played under the amount of pressure they faced in these games. And I think this team, whoever's in net, they're going to be happy with their performance regardless of what the score is.
This team has gotten outshot in all the games against Pembina Valley that they faced them this year. This is a team that gets outshot quite a bit. I don't think there's many games where they do outshoot teams. But, that being said, in terms of the defensive strategy, you talked about Pembina Valley, how they like to look for the stretch passes a lot. And obviously those happen into the neutral zone. Do you think a defensive game plan to limit shots this time around to, make it harder for Pembina Valley to enter the zone is going to be for Interlake to focus on clogging up that neutral zone as one of their biggest defensive strategies?
Yeah, I think that's going to be the main strategy. Yeah. We know that the Hawks love to send that stretch pass, and it hasn't been too successful for them. So definitely look for Interlake to try to combat that and try to really, get in the grill of the Hawks there and try to, like you said, clog up the neutral zone. I think that's the number one game plan. You nailed it on the spot there.
Talking about the defense as a whole, once Pembina Valley gets into the zone, because that's going to be inevitable in any hockey game, no matter who the opponent is. What do you expect from this Interlake Lightning team in terms of how they're going to game plan, in terms of, trying to keep Pembina Valley to the outside, making them not get those high quality scoring chances that they have gotten in the wins that they have gotten against Interlake so far this year?
Yeah, I think it all kind of comes down to simplifying the game a little bit for them. Be hard on the puck, force the puck. Really make the Hawks players struggle to move that puck, and keep the puck to the outside, and really be active with your sticks in your own zone. This is a team that has struggled a lot, especially when they get trapped in their own zone. And I think the number one thing is be aggressive, but also at the same time, don't be too aggressive to the point where, one of the players gets caught in the wrong position, and then there's a chance with, one player having their misassignment. So I think playing a reliable game in their own zone and just limiting shots and keeping things to the outside is going to be one of the other game plans for this team.
Talk about these special teams now for Interlake. They got into some penalty trouble against Westman, taking 14 total penalty minutes. Of course, it didn't hurt them in the end because they ended up getting the 4-0 win against them. But they, took 12 penalty minutes against PV in the 3-2 loss that they had against them. Just talking about those as the two significant things that I noticed. But, talking about the penalty kill for them first off, and then as well as moving into the power play, how huge that will be for Interlake in this game that they're playing against the Hawks.
Well, I'd say it's just as big as how I mentioned before with Pembina Valley. I think the PK is they're definitely going to be tested in this game coming up against the Hawks. If there is a penalty, you never know. Maybe maybe Interlake doesn't take a penalty. I don't think that's going to happen, but you never know. But I think the main thing with it is you gotta play aggressive on that PK, but not, like I said, not too aggressive, because then you could give pucks up and you could get caught out of position. But this Hawks PK moves the puck so well. So making sure your assignment and your role out there when you're a penalty killer. And I think they got a good chance if they can keep their assignment, and if they can keep up with the Hawks on the power, or when they're shorthanded.
Yeah, and then moving into the power play for the Interlake Lightning in this game, where they should be, looking to have success in that area. Of course, going up against a very strong Pembina Valley Hawks penalty kill unit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if history is going to repeat itself, Interlake Lightning might get a lot of power play opportunities this game, depending on the Hawks' discipline in the game. So I think they should go at it, I think they should play similarly to how the Hawks do, moving the puck well on the power play, use your speed to get around those players. And I know it's pretty tough with a more defensive minded team like this Interlake Lightning squad, but I think, moving pucks well and passing tape to tape passes and just knowing what to do and when to do it is going to be the main thing on this power play.
One last thing on Interlake before we go to a commercial break here, Seth. Like Pembina Valley, you talked about the keys to the game for them. For Interlake, on their side of things, what should the keys to the game be for this Interlake Lightning squad looking for their second win this season, looking for another upset?
I think number one, trust your teammates. You guys came off a successful win, and you did get outshot in that game, but stick with what you did in that game. They beat a very solid Westman Wildcats team. try to play the way they did in that game. You know, a strong defensive game. You know, goaltending, is going to be it needs to stand on its head again in this game. And I think, that's the number one thing. And I think 2 and 3 are probably just going to be penalty kill and power play, making sure they're up to speed and up to snuff to really try to, when you're on the PK, try to defend well in your own zone against the Hawks. So when you're on the power play, move that puck well and, just generate as much offense as humanly possible.
Well, for the Pembina Valley Hawks, as mentioned, they are going to be coming into this game after a matchup that they'll be having the night before against the Winnipeg Ice on the road. Depending on what happens in that game against the Ice for the Hawks, they'll be looking for either their 10th win or 11th win on the season up until this point. And for the Interlake Lightning, with their only game of the weekend, they are looking to improve that 1-17 record to 2-12, looking for another upset in their season here in the 2022 portion of their season. So coming up after the break, Seth, we are going to talk about the final game that will be broadcasting this weekend between the Pembina Valley Hawks at home once again taking on the Eastman Selects. You're watching this edition of Seth's Inside Scoop on Coffee with Graeme. Stick around with Seth and me, or Seth and I, or me and Seth, whatever you guys want to call it, on this week's edition of this segment, Seth's Inside Scoop. Welcome back to this edition of Seth's Inside Scoop on Coffee with Graeme. Seth started off this edition by previewing the upcoming matchup on Saturday between the Pembina Valley Hawks and Interlake Lightning. Now we're going to move into the third and final game that the Hawks will be playing this weekend, because they are playing on the road tomorrow night against the Ice. But the second game will be broadcasting this weekend, Seth, on Sunday afternoon between the Pembina Valley Hawks and Eastman Selects. Pembina Valley has shut them out twice and played them twice so far this season. A 2-0 win and 3-0 win over the Selects for them. Eastman will be coming into this game, coming off of a game against the Westman Wildcats the night before. Just starting off with this, Pembina Valley's third game of the weekend, playing 3 days in a row. How do you expect Pembina Valley to manage their lineup in this game around, maybe having some tired bodies at the end of a long weekend for them in terms of games played?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Obviously, this is going to be their third game in 3 days, and they're going to be tired going into it. And they're going to be, they're going to get more tired and tired as the game progresses. I think that's safe to say. But I think the number one thing is, for the Hawks, I think they should just, balance the lines out a little bit, spread the love out, get some, more offensive-minded players, like, for instance, Abby Bordered-Wee playing with one of the more depth pieces in the lineup, just to, sort of spread out the love and try to get a more balanced lineup, because I think a balanced lineup in a game where you're pretty tired is only going to help the team.
Pembina Valley, they've outshot the Selects 40-29 in their most recent matchup. They got outshot pretty heavily in the first matchup, but still got the 2-0 win. But talking about the last matchup, obviously Pembina Valley looking to replicate that same sort of success. And Pembina Valley's been out shooting teams as of late in this 2022 portion of their season. I believe that they've outshot every team that they've played against so far, minus the Avros game. But the game plan for Pembina Valley's offense to try to replicate that same sort of success in terms of the team generating that amount of shots again.
Yeah, I think a main testament to it, or the main thing, is going to be their speed. And it's going to be, interesting to see, because, after on their third game in 3 days, the speed's definitely going to be not at 100% like it was in the first game. So I think just managing your speed and keeping the shifts short, keeping your shifts short for the offensive players, almost like a tongue twister there. But keeping the shifts short. There, I got it. Is going to be the main thing for them, because if you're gonna keep playing out there for a long time, you're gonna get tired faster and faster, and the more likelihood the Eastman Selects are gonna get some offensive zone time themselves. So I think, main thing, keeping shift shorts offensively.
Yeah, and of course, Eastman has been able to outshoot this Hawks team before, as mentioned, 36-19 in that 2-0 loss that they had against Pembina Valley. But in terms of Pembina Valley keeping the shots down and getting more shots than the other team, what the game plan should be against this Eastman Selects team. The offense that they'll be bringing to the table, how the Hawks will be looking to shut them down.
Yeah, obviously, we've talked a lot about this Hawks team's defense and how well they've been able to defend at times throughout the year. And I think keeping things simple in the defensive zone, and that even includes on the breakout when the defender gets the puck. Maybe not look for that stretch pass and maybe put in the puck in a more safer area, and managing pucks well, and tracking pucks well too. Staying on your assignment. All the simple things defenders need to worry about. I think it's going to be a test for them because, like I said before, this is their third game in 3 days, so they're going to be pretty tired. And keeping shifts short. It's tough to figure out things to say other than keeping shifts shorts when your team is really tired. So I think that's the main goal for the defense as well. Keep them short, and when you are in your own zone and you start to get hemmed in, just play smart defensive hockey.
Yeah, and looking at, in terms of the special teams in this game, looking at Eastman so far this year in terms of the penalties they've taken the third most amount of penalty minutes in the league. Of course, the Hawks have taken the fourth most. We've seen the Hawks getting into some penalty trouble as of late. But talking about the special teams in this game, obviously there's going to be opportunities just based off of the information out there. These teams in the top half of the league in terms of taking penalty minutes. But, in terms of the special teams for the Hawks in this game, how it should be looking, how you expect to look against this Eastman Select special teams units.
Yeah, this Eastman team and this Hawks team are very, very close teams, I think, and it's only going to be an even more fun matchup when they meet each other on Sunday. And I think the main thing with I'll just go with power play and penalty kill is to go with what you know. Move that puck well. As for the power play, move that puck well like you have been. And they've been able to find a lot of good lanes and they've made a lot of good reads on the power play lately. Haven't had much conversion on the power play lately, but everything else on the power play has been almost flawless except for maybe that one game against the Avros a week ago or a few weeks ago. And I just think, keep moving the puck well like you have been, and keeping just try not to make any unsmart decisions, and you should be good to go on the power play.
We'll keep this part of the segment a bit shorter for the Pembina Valley Hawks and dive right into the keys to the game for them in this matchup against the Eastman Selects, who, will be hungry to come into this one and try to reverse the effect of the, getting shut out, trying to get some goals on the board this time around, and even trying to beat the Pembina Valley Hawks. But for the Hawks, the keys to their game to not allow for the Selects to be able to win.
I feel like I've said this first one about 1,000 times, but I guess I'll have to say it again. Keep shift shorts. Number one thing, short shifts always in a game where you're going to be really tired going into it. And then number two, smart defensive play. That kind of goes back into me saying earlier in the segment with the whole, maybe stop always looking for that stretch pass when you're breaking out of the zone. It really hurt them in the last game they played. A number of turnovers that happened in that game against the Westman Wildcats. So I think, just playing a smart defensive zone play, and keeping the breakout, a clean breakout, a crisp breakout with not too many, mishaps like the last game.
Going into Eastman now, they'll be playing their second and final game of the weekend against the Hawks coming up on Sunday. Of course, outshot by Pembina Valley in their most recent matchup. They've had a chance to outshoot them in their first matchup they played against them, but of course lost that game 2-0. Starting off with this, Seth, talking about this this Eastman team, the depth that they have, obviously not the highest amount of points put up by their players, but a lot of players that have been on the board scoring goals for them so far this year.
Yeah, they don't have any insane, superstars on the team, but they got a good. I like what you said. I like their depth. I like, this is a team. They play a more team style game where it's not just one person potting all the goals. It's the love is spread apart a little bit more, and I think it's a great thing for this team. The depth on this team has been excellent, like I said. So I think the number one thing for them is depth scoring. I think that's just they're going to need coming into this game to have all offensive players on all systems go, as you could say.
Yeah, for sure. And definitely the leader offensively for this team is team captain Janick Labossiere. Obviously she'll be looking to have an impact in this game, but talking about this team, what they'll be looking to do defensively against this Pembina Valley Hawks team, who has a good forecheck, gets a lot of shots on net in games, likes to throw a lot of pucks on net, and also plays with speed.
Yeah, I think it's going to be similar to how Interlake should approach the game against the Hawks. Try to clog up that neutral zone, like we talked about before. The Hawks have had a few struggles in the neutral zone this year with not being able to put pucks in the right area. So I think they clog up that neutral zone, they get on the forecheck, and they make life living heck, you could say, for the defenders on the Hawks. So I think that could be a big reason for their success if they can find success in this game against the Hawks.
Yeah, and you talk about we've talked about so many times this Pembina Valley Hawks speed and how it's been such an asset for them and such a strength for them. Obviously, just like Interlake, there's going to be a lot of times in this game where Pembina Valley is going to get offensive zone time. For the Selects, once the puck is in their own end, how do you expect this Eastman team to, the game plan, what it should be for them to be able to have success on the breakouts and be able to, limit the high quality scoring chances from the Hawks? Yeah,
I think one of the main things they got to do in the defensive zone is make sure you have your wingers really have a lot of aggressive wingers. I notice a lot from this Hawks team is what they like to do is they like to generate offense from the blue line. You often see pucks coming back to Quinn McLaren, and she's, one of the hardest slap shots in the league, ripping it on net, or, some of their other defensemen like Erica Fiala or Emily Foster. These people can really, they love to use these defenders, and they love to, generate offense from the from their defensive side. So I think the main thing is having your wingers be really aggressive on the blue line, on those blue liners, and really make sure that they're able to get pucks out and really try to catch those defenders off guard.
Talking about the goaltending, obviously this team is tied for the most goals given up this season in the league as a team with 71, along with the Interlake Lightning coming into this weekend. These two goaltenders haven't posted the greatest numbers statistically, but that could just be a testament to just the amount of shots that they faced. What should we expect, and what do you think is needed from the goaltending in this game for this Eastman Selects team to have success, as they have only let in a max of 3 goals in these two matchups? Of course, in that 3-0 win, giving up 2 goals in that 2-0 win that they gave up, facing lesser shots in that game than in the most recent matchup that these teams played. The game plan, what these goaltenders should be expecting to do going into this game against Pembina Valley.
Yeah, I'm expecting, whichever goaltender gets a start, I'm expecting a pretty good performance because the last few times these two teams played, these goaltenders played really well. So they match up well against the Hawks. So I think we're going to see a lot of the same. Obviously, we don't know what happens yet because we can't predict the future. But I think these two goaltenders, the main thing for them is don't get down on yourself. The Hawks get a few goals on you. Stay on your game and keep the resiliency up. I know I use the resiliency lots for goaltenders, but a lot of what goaltenders need to deal with is that resiliency and keeping their confidence even after a bad game. So I think the main thing is keep your confidence up if you're these goaltenders.
Ending off with this one, Seth, like we've done for the Hawks and Interlake in this segment, the keys to the game for the Eastman Selects in this matchup, looking to get a win in the Access Event Center in Morden, Manitoba come this Sunday against the Hawks.
Yeah, I think number one thing for them is to own the neutral zone. Don't let we've talked about the Hawks, weaknesses recently in the neutral zone, their neutral zone play. So I think clogging it up, being the main example, being aggressive in the neutral zone is going to be the number one thing. Trying to not let the Hawks have any daylight when it comes to that. And then once the puck eventually does get into your own zone, I think number two is defend well in your own zone. Try not to give up as many shots on these goaltenders. These goaltenders faced a lot of shots this year so far already. So I think just playing a smart defensive game and trying to limit the shots is another key for them. And then number three is, I think, it's similar to the Hawks, is keep their discipline down. This team's taken a lot of penalties, like you said. I think you said they were, third in the league in penalty minutes. In penalty minutes. So I think, staying out of the box is the number one thing for this Eastman Selects team.
Well, for the third time in this MFHL season, the Eastman Selects and the Pembina Valley Hawks go at it. Eastman looking to get on the board as well for the first time against this Pembina Valley Hawks team this season. Should be an interesting one and should be a fun one to cover, along with that game that's happening on Saturday between the Hawks and the Interlake Lightning. Seth Rach on the Coffee with Graeme here on this Thursday evening. Seth, we'll see you on the weekend, man. But until then, you take care. Sorry, folks, my mic was muted. That was Seth Rach joining this edition of Coffee with Graeme on Seth's Inside Scoop. Of course, be sure to catch both of those games, the Pembina Valley Hawks and Interlake Lightning, on Saturday. They will be playing that game at, just looking at the schedule here once again, just to confirm the time, 5:15 at the Access Event Center in Morden, Manitoba. ASTV Productions will be broadcasting that game, so stay tuned for that. And then taking a look at the game at 3:30 p.m. on Sunday is when Pembina Valley also plays here on the network on ASTV Productions. On Sunday against the Eastman Selects. So coming up after the commercial break, I'm going to end off by telling you guys about the upcoming games that are happening in the MFHL, along with the Saskatchewan Female U18 AAA Hockey League, as well as the MMJHL. And I also got some scores to report as well from the Saskatchewan Female U18 AAA Hockey League. Only one game to report that actually has already been played tonight, and also a game in the MMJHL that is close to ending at this point. I'm going to check up on that score in that game and see if there's a final score in that game in that point between the St. Vital Junior Victorias and Pembina Valley Twisters. But we're going to send it to one more commercial break here on the show. You're watching Coffee with Graeme on ASTV Productions. Stick around for more after this commercial break. Welcome back to Coffee with Graeme, everybody. Joining me on tonight's edition of the show most recently was Seth Rach on this week's edition of Seth's Inside Scoop. I want to thank Seth along with the other guests that joined me in tonight's episode. And Quinn McLaren starting off on the Hawks report, team captain, number 24 senior defenseman for the Pembina Valley U18 AAA Female Hawks, as well as Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy U15 Prep Male Buffaloes forward Hansel Chicoose, as well as another Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy player playing for the U17 Prep Male team, defenseman, first-year defenseman for that team in Riel, Chartrand. This is usually where I end off today's edition of Coffee with Graeme, or not today's edition, tonight's edition of Coffee with Graeme, since it is currently 9:36, so just over an hour and 35 minutes into this broadcast tonight. But I'm going to be giving you guys an update here, a league report, and not many scores to report at this point since the MFHL isn't starting playing their games for this weekend until coming up tomorrow. I guess Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I guess Saturday and Sunday are considered the weekend, but I also throw Friday into that mix. But the MFHL has had no games leading up to that, so I'm just going to be telling you guys about the games that have been played there so far. But do have something to report out of the MMJHL. The Pembina Valley Twisters in that road matchup that they had tonight at St. Vital Center, or Centennial Arena, St. Vital Centennial Arena, not the mall, St. Vital Center. It'd be pretty cool if they played hockey and games there, though. But in St. Vital Centennial Arena tonight, it was a close one. The St. Vital Junior Victorias fell 2-1 to the Pembina Valley Twisters. Pembina Valley moving into a 2-game winning streak with that win. The Vics opened up the scoring in that game, the Junior Vics did in the first period, but it was Pembina Valley, the Twisters, scoring the rest of the goals in the rest of that game. 1 goal in the second period, 1 goal in the third period to take it 2-1. And the shots were even in this game, 33-32 in favor of the Pembina Valley Twisters. In terms of special teams, neither team scoring on the man advantage in this game. The St. Vital Junior Victorias had more opportunity on the power play, having 1 more chance than the Twisters did. The Junior Vics going 0-for-3 on the man advantage, and the Twisters going 0-for-2 on the man advantage. The box score for who scored in that game has not been posted yet. And another game that has been played from a different league, though. It's the first game to kind of kick off things heading into the weekend. It was the Prince Albert Northern Bears defeating the Saskatoon Stars earlier tonight. And yeah, Prince Albert with that win, improving their record. They still are in the same place as they were in the standings, as I mentioned last time. But the shots in this game were even, 33 apiece. The Northern Bears shut out the Stars in the first 2 periods. They also had 2 goals in the first period, 2 goals in the second period, and the Stars ended up scoring twice in the third, but the Prince Albert Northern Bears scoring 2 in the third as well to make it a final of 6-2. Looking at the Stars for this game, as the Saskatchewan Female League puts Stars up for their games, who was named the 3 stars of the game, which is pretty cool. But all but 1 going to the Northern Bears in this game. Brooke Archer for the Prince Albert Northern Bears ended up getting the 3rd star. The 2nd star went to Avery Barros for the Saskatoon Stars. And then the 1st star of the game going to Kayla Campen for the Northern Bears. And gonna look at it here, what happened in this game. Brooke Archer, she ended up getting the win, so she was the 3rd star for the Northern Bears. Looking at Barros, she ended up having the 2 only goals that the Saskatoon Stars scored. And then looking at Kayla Campen, she had 1 goal in that game, and that was good enough for her to be the 1st star in that game for the Northern Bears. But looking at the updated standings in the Saskatchewan Female U18 AAA Hockey League, after that, the Saskatoon Stars remain in fourth place. They fall to a record of 9-7-1-1. They have 30 points, and the Prince Albert Northern Bears end up separating themselves from the Battleford Sharks just a bit more with 1 game in hand on them, as well as the Prince Albert Northern Bears end up improving to a 6-11-1-2 record for 22 points in the season, 4 points up now from the Battleford Sharks. They were 1 point ahead of them before this game happened tonight. But taking a look at the MMJHL standings now, how this impacted the standings, not by much, except for the Pembina Valley Twisters gained some more separation on the St. Vital Junior Victorias. These teams were separated by 5 points heading into this matchup. The Vics have a game in hand on the Twisters, but the Twisters now expanding their record to 19-6-4 on the season, good for 42 points. They had 40 heading into this game, and for the Junior Victorias, they fall to 16-9-3, still at 35 points, and still quite ahead of the Raiders Junior Hockey Club, as they are 8 points back of the St. Vital Junior Victorias. But speaking of trades, I know that I would tell you I was going to compile a list of all the trades that were made in the MMJHL. I'm going to be showing you guys that on Tuesday morning's edition of Coffee with Graeme, so stay tuned for that. Very excited to show you guys the trades and what's happened there. The latest trades in that league in the MMJHL happened on January 9th, so 11 days ago. So still pretty recent, as this did happen 11 days ago with the latest trades that have been made. But taking a look at it, going back to the MFHL, the weekend's action gets kicked off, I guess, a day before the weekend starts on Friday night. Of course, the Pembina Valley Hawks will be in Winnipeg to take on the Winnipeg Ice at 6:30 p.m. at the Bell MTS Iceplex. The Central Plains Capitals will be taking on the Yellowhead Chiefs at Shoal Lake, so in Yellowhead, in the Yellowhead Chiefs home barn at 7:30 p.m. And the Winnipeg Avers travel to play the Westman Wildcats in a battle of 2 top teams in the MFHL. The game will be going at 8 p.m. at in Hartney. So going to be an exciting game for sure for all fans in attendance of that one. And then moving into Saturday's action, as you guys have heard here many times in this episode already, the Interlake Lightning traveled to Morden, Manitoba at the Access Event Center in their only game of this weekend to take on the Pembina Valley Hawks. That game, of course, puck drop at 5:15 p.m. You guys can also catch this game on ASTV Productions. Be sure to check us out anywhere you watch our broadcasts. And then the Eastman Selects will be taking on the Westman Wildcats in Hartney as well on Saturday night. As mentioned before in this episode, the game starts at 7:30. That's when puck drop will be. And then it's the battle of the top 2 teams in the MFHL. And this game right here, folks, could have, will be interesting to see what happens in this one. The top 2 teams in the league, of course, coming into this weekend, the Winnipeg Avros and the Chiefs, only separated by 1 point. The Avros with an 18-2-1 record. The Yellowhead Chiefs with an 18-4 record. The Avros have 1 game in hand on the Yellowhead Chiefs too. So this is going to be an exciting game. Depending on what happens the night before, these teams could very well still be separated by 2 points. By only 1 point, sorry. So, yeah, winner of that game could very well, the winner of that game, if the Chiefs and Avros both do win before, the night before, the winner of this game will end up in first place for the moment after Saturday's matchup. And then, they're done for the weekend. So, that's maybe the biggest game of the season for both teams at this point, just with the implications of what the standings will bring for that one. If they do end up winning on Friday night, they'll still be separated by 1 point in the standings. So, should be interesting. But on Sunday, January 23rd, Only 2 games happening in the MFHL. The Central Plains Capitals traveling to Winnipeg to battle it out against the Winnipeg Ice. 2:30 p.m. is when that game starts. And the Eastman Selects playing the Pembina Valley Hawks, of course, as mentioned many times here on tonight's show. 3:30 p.m. at the Access Event Center in Morden. You guys can catch that game, as mentioned so many times before, on ASTV Productions on Sunday. So moving into the Saskatchewan Female U18 AAA Hockey League now, there's going to be a lot of games happening that are scheduled. 2 triple headers, no games tomorrow in the Saskatchewan League, but 3 on Saturday and 3 on Sunday on the schedule at this point. Doesn't say any of these games are canceled at this point. Let's hope it stays that way. But the Regina Rebels will be playing against the Saskatoon Stars. The Prince Albert Northern Bears will be playing against the Weyburn Goldwings, and the Battleford Sharks will be playing against the Notre Dame Hounds. Taking a look at the home teams in those games, just to clarify for you guys. Taking a look at it, the Regina Rebels will be traveling to the Saskatoon's home rink to battle the Stars at 2 p.m. on Saturday afternoon, and then both the other games are night games. The Northern Bears traveling to Weyburn's home rink to battle the Goldwings at 7:30 p.m. And then there's going to be another game going on. The Battleford Sharks traveling to Wilcox, Saskatchewan. They're supposed to be traveling there to play the Notre Dame Hounds, and I believe the Hounds will be back in action playing this weekend, so that'll be great to see. But looking into Sunday's action, the Prince Albert Northern Bears going to be playing in Weyburn again in the doubleheader for this weekend. All these matchups going to be, not doubleheaders, but back-to-back. So Prince Albert playing the second of the back-to-back against Weyburn in their home arena, playing the Goldwings. The Northern Bears playing them at 1 p.m. on Sunday afternoon. And the Battleford Sharks playing against Notre Dame, the Hounds again, at 1:30 p.m. on Sunday afternoon in Wilcox, Saskatchewan, and the Regina Rebels playing against the Saskatoon Stars at 2 p.m. on Sunday afternoon as well in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. So going to be some exciting games there in the Saskatchewan Female U18 AAA Hockey League. Let's get into what is going to be happening in the MMJHL coming up. Looking at it, there's a lot of games on the schedule, 9 in total on Friday and on Sunday. Starting off with Friday, just got to check if any of these games are canceled at all for whatever reason. Crossing my fingers that there aren't any postponed games, and it seems like there aren't any postponed games in the MMJHL at this point. So the Stonewall Jets, 7-20-2 heading into this matchup that they have tomorrow night against the Fort Garry Twins. That game will be played at Century Arena at 7:30 p.m. At this point in the season, of course, the Stonewall Jets have lost 8 in a row. They're looking to snap that on in tomorrow night's game against the Fort Garry Twins. The St. Vital Junior Canucks, 24-2-3 on the season, coming off their first loss off of their first loss in a while. They will be on the road playing at Terry Sawchuk Arena. Didn't even know that arena still existed, to be honest, but I've been seeing it that's where River East has been playing all season, so that's pretty crazy. The River East Royal Knights will be playing the St. James Junior Canucks in that game. The Royal Knights are looking to snap a 4-game losing streak. That game happening at 7:30 p.m. tomorrow night. And then the Charleswood Hawks taking on the Raiders Junior Hockey Club at 7:30 p.m. at the Seven Oaks Sportsplex. The Charleswood Hawks coming into this game with a 3-game win streak. The Raiders Junior Hockey Club coming in with a 2-game win streak. The Raiders Junior Hockey Club with a 13-4-1 record. The Hawks with an 11-19-1 record coming into that game. So the Raiders looking to get back to 500 or get to 500, and the Charleswood Hawks looking to continue to improve on their record. and also continue to further, strengthen their grip on the last playoff spot that they had after starting off the season poorly. They've, climbed up in the standings into a playoff spot. But taking a look at the last game that's going to be played tomorrow night, it's going to be the St. Vital Junior Victorias coming off of the loss that they had tonight in a close one to the Pembina Valley Twisters, taking on the Transcona Railer Express, who have a 25-4 record. The Vics, of course, as mentioned before, their record, what they have, they are 16-9-3 on the season. Of course, the Transcona Railer Express are also coming off of a loss, so both teams looking hungry for a win, looking to get back into that win column. But then looking at it, and that game against Transcona and St. Vital is going to be played at Ed Golden East End. That's what the arena is called now. They're going to be playing at East End Arena in that game tomorrow night at 8 p.m. And then looking at Sunday's action, the St. James Junior Canucks on the road once again, playing at Seven Oaks Arena at the Seven Oaks Sportsplex against the Raiders Junior Hockey Club at 2 p.m. The St. Vital Junior Victorias, at this point, this game is going on. It is going down. Just got to clarify once again, make sure eyes weren't deceiving me. But yeah, the St. Vital Junior Victorias playing their, their friends from St. Boniface, the St. Boniface Riels. The Riels, this will be their only game of the weekend, and they are actually on a one-game winning streak, so they're looking to keep the winning ways going, as they have had a very disappointing season at 6-20-1. That game going at 4 p.m. at Southdale Arena. The Charleswood Hawks will be traveling to East End Arena at 7 p.m. on Sunday night, so some good Sunday night action. One of 3 games happening on Sunday night, playing the Transcona Railer Express. And then looking at the 7:30 games, there's 2 of them happening. The Pembina Valley Twisters playing at Century Arena against the Fort Garry Twins at 7:30 p.m. and then at Terry Sawchuk Arena to finish off this weekend's action to play in the MMJHL. Out of those 5 games that are going to be played on Sunday, the Stonewall Jets facing off against the River East Royal Knights. If you guys are in the areas, the areas of those games that are being played and you want to watch some great junior hockey action, be sure to check it out. Lots of good games that are going to be going down this weekend in the MMJHL for sure. So that's going to do it for this episode's edition of League Report, and this is going to do it for tonight's edition of Coffee with Graeme. Of course, like I've said, going to be some exciting hockey being played this weekend. Like I've said before, I want to thank my guests for joining the show again tonight. The people who joined tonight's show, and Quinn McLaren, team captain of the Pembina Valley Hawks, as well as Hansel Chicoose, number 23, forward for the U15 Prep Male Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy Buffaloes, as well as Riel Chartrand, defenseman, first-year defenseman for the Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy U17 Prep Male Buffaloes as well. And, of course, to my main man, Seth Rach, for joining his segment, Seth's Inside Scoop, here on Thursday, as he's been doing pretty consistently. Well, not pretty consistently ever since we started that segment every night here on Thursday night, on the Thursday night episodes. The next edition of League Report, by the way, will be coming out on Tuesday. At the end of that episode on Coffee with Graeme, might be, switching it up and, giving the report in various different parts of the episode, not just at the end like I did tonight. But, going to be getting you guys, the updates, the standings updates, the points leaders, the goal leaders, the assist leaders, the goaltending leaders, all that good stuff after this weekend of action in these 3 leagues, the MFHL, the Saskatchewan Female U18 AAA Hockey League, as well as the MMJHL. What the situations, the landscape of those leagues will be looking like after the weekend ends here. But also going to be telling you guys about the trades that have happened in the MMJHL as well on Tuesday, so stay tuned for that in that edition of League Report. But special thanks to you, the viewer, for also taking the time and tuning in on this Thursday evening. And also a special thanks to our sponsors here tonight on Coffee with Graeme in AETI, Case Financial Group, Evolve Green, Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy, and Toby Hockey for sponsoring tonight's edition of the show and sponsoring Coffee with Graeme as always. Coffee with Graeme will be coming to you guys next on Tuesday next week at 10 a.m. Central Time. You guys can catch it on our Facebook at ASTV Productions, on our Twitter as well at Amateur Sports TV, or on our website at astvproductions.com. That episode will be a live edition of the show. Also, make sure to check us out on social media, on our Instagram at ASTV Productions, on our Twitter, and on our Facebook as well, leading up to that episode on Monday night, as we will be posting the guest list for the next edition of Coffee with Graeme on Monday night next week. So stay tuned for that on our social media platforms. Very excited to reveal the next guest list when that day does come next week on Monday. But until next Tuesday morning, folks, next week on Tuesday morning, I've been your host of Coffee with Graeme, Graeme Forsyth, signing off now. It's almost 10 o'clock, so I'm honestly probably gonna hit the hay early here, pretty tired. But if you guys are tired, have a wonderful sleep. If you guys are staying up late, well, have a wonderful rest of your Thursday evening. Have a wonderful Friday tomorrow. Hoping everyone has a wonderful and safe weekend as well. Stay warm out there. And until next week on Tuesday, everybody, on Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. We'll see you then. Graeme Forsyth signing off now. Peace and out on this Thursday evening. Take care, everybody.